Imagine spending billions of dollars to build a collection of insane artificial islands, only to watch them sink slowly. Sounds like something out of a disastrous film, doesn't it? It is. However, a fact for Dubai's $10 billion artificial islands. Join us as we explore what went wrong with these islands and the risk that the government took in order to build this. Now, talking about risk, Dubai had a grand scheme in the early 2000s to construct a series of artificial islands that would spell out the world. This was an ambitious task, and the tiny islands were to be used for a variety of uses, including luxury resorts, business projects, and even private homes. The construction of these islands, however, proved to be more challenging than expected. Dubai intended to construct these islands completely out of the sand, which may sound like a good idea, but sand isn't the most stable building substance. Who would have guessed it? As a result, the islands started sinking back into the sea. It turns out that constructing a massive sandcastle in the center of the ocean is not the most viable plan, and cracks appeared quickly. Do you think that the Artificial Islands project was a good idea in the first place? Let us know. Anyways, to make things worse, the country suffered from financial difficulties. The initial budget was $10 billion, but by the time all was said and done, the cost had risen to more than $14 billion. We suppose things get a little expensive when you're constructing islands out of the sand. The islands were built by excavating millions of cubic meters of sand from the seafloor, causing considerable harm to aquatic habitats in the nearby region. The excavating process disrupted the seabed and stirred up sediment, which had a significant effect on local fish populations and other aquatic life. Furthermore, the islands themselves harmed the ecosystem by disrupting natural ocean currents and creating artificial environments that were harsh to many aquatic species. The islands also added to erosion and the loss of native shorelines, which are important habitats for a variety of aquatic creatures. The sinking of the islands also brought about a number of natural issues. As the small islands began to sink, the sand became unstable and shifted, increasing the risk of erosion and other environmental dangers. The sinking islets additionally created an environmental risk by disrupting natural ocean currents and possibly trapping contaminants in the nearby waterways. The environmental consequences of the man-made islands were important and far-reaching. While the project was undeniably impressive in terms of engineering, it came at a significant expense to the environment and the aquatic organisms that depend on healthy coastal environments. In addition to environmental and financial concerns, the artificial islets encountered logistical challenges. The original idea, for example, was to link the islands to the shore via a number of bridges, but this proved impossible due to the rough seas in the region. As a result, the developers were forced to construct a number of tiny, isolated islands that were not linked to one another. Imagine being stranded on a man-made island with limited transportation and few options for buying food and other necessities. We'll explore the challenges faced by residents and employees of Dubai's artificial islands and what it means for the future of sustainable development. This posed a number of difficulties for the people and companies on the islands. Transportation between the islands and the shore was challenging, and there were few choices for stores, food, and other necessities. Residents and employees in some instances had to depend on costly boats to get them from the islands to the mainland. The man-made islands were intended to be luxury residential and business properties, but they failed to draw purchasers and renters. Despite their excellent position and luxurious facilities, many of the island's properties were deserted or underused. This was due partially to the massive expenses of living and working on the islands, as well as the logistical difficulties. The failure of Dubai's artificial islands had a significant impact on the city's prestige and worldwide image. Dubai has long been known for its extravagant and ambitious building projects, but the collapse of the man-made islands has raised concerns about the city's long-term profitability and sustainability. The importance of sustainability and growth in the construction business has grown in recent years. Governments, companies, and people are increasingly focused on lowering their environmental effects and ensuring that growth is done in a responsible and sustainable way. As we move forward, we must find a balance between our desire for development and ingenuity and our duty to protect the natural world and guarantee our planet's long term. How do you think the project's outcome would have been different if different approaches to project management and oversight had been taken? The failure of Dubai's man-made islands raises serious concerns about the roles of government and private companies in the building industry. In a lot of cases, private developers start and finance large-scale initiatives with government assistance and encouragement. While this can result in impressive and novel projects, it can also lead to a situation in which financial objectives promote sustainability and responsible developments. To address these concerns, advocates have called for increased government supervision and regulation of the building industry, as well as increased responsibility and willingness on the part of private companies. This would help to ensure that growth is carried out in a reasonable and viable way, with the public's and the natural world's interests taken into consideration. Furthermore, the significance of community involvement and consultation in the construction business is becoming more widely recognized. Large-scale projects are frequently created without sufficient engagement with local communities, resulting in conflicts and tensions between developers and citizens. Developers can ensure that their projects are matched with community needs and goals by engaging local groups in the planning and development process, and that the possible benefits of development are spread more widely. Have you ever wondered what happens when there's a lack of transparency and accountability in government or corporate projects? In this video, we'll explore a shocking example of such a failure. Another factor that added to the failure of Dubai's artificial islands was a lack of transparency and accountability in the development process. Many of the project specifics and specs were not made public or available to investors, leading to uncertainty and skepticism about the project's usefulness and benefits. The lack of transparency also made it difficult for investors and other stakeholders to fully comprehend the project's possible dangers and challenges. As a result, many investors may have invested in the project without completely knowing the potential dangers and challenges, potentially resulting in substantial financial losses. To summarize, Dubai's artificial island failure was a major setback for the city's building sector and worldwide image. It does, however, serve as a timely reflection of the dangers and difficulties associated with large-scale building projects, as well as the need for a more careful and responsible approach to growth. We can ensure that our constructed environment matches our beliefs and goals, and that we leave a good impact on future generations by emphasizing openness, accountability, and sustainability in the development process. Despite the failures, Dubai has continued to engage in ambitious construction projects such as the creation of new artificial islands and the construction of larger and more spectacular structures. While these initiatives may spike interest and excitement in the short term, it's critical to consider the long-term implications and consequences of such developments. What do you think we can learn from the failure of the artificial islands project? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it and also consider subscribing for more content like this.